Hey guys, Original Boris here from the Original Family. It is September 11th, 2014, and it is 9/11, 13 years ago. The United States got attacked, one of the most brutal terrorist attacks ever in the history of the United States, and ever in general, and affected a lot of people in their lives. I'm going to talk about where I was on 9/11. One thing that I talked to people about that I've met over the years. We always talk about where we were on 9/11. You always remember that moment. Um, like people remember the Kennedy assassination. They talk about where they were. The earliest memory that I have is the Challenger explosion back in 1986. I actually saw it in school. We were all sitting in the library, all the students, and we were watching it on a big screen. And we saw the Challenger explode on live TV. That's the earliest memory that I have of something tragic. But 9/11, I was actually working for a company called Treetop. They're famous for their apple juice and their apple slices that come in the little baggies like you get at McDonald's, and the Happy Meals, and also their apple sauces and jelly, that kind of stuff. They're popular for that. So I was working for Treetop, and I was actually working at the factory, working in the sanitation department. And I would get to work at 9 p.m. And that's when production would finish, and then the sanitation crew would spend all night cleaning the factory and cleaning the line. I was part of the sanitation crew. Anyway, I went in that night at about 9 p.m. Sometimes we went in at 9, sometimes we went in at 10. I think I had gone in at 9 that night. And so I went to work on September 10th, 2001, and I worked throughout the night. Nothing different, just another day doing my job, cleaning the plants, and making sure everything was ready and nice and clean for the next day when production started again. Anyway, we finished the night about 6 or so Pacific time, because I live in Washington State, and I get off of work, get out of my work uniform, and we usually get out of the sanitation room where we change and all that, get out of our work uniforms, go through the plant again, and go out another door into cafeteria. When we walked out the door in the cafeteria, everybody was sitting in the cafeteria looking at the TV. And they have a TV. They had a TV back then where people could watch TV in a VCR and do what they want on their breaks and their lunch. They could watch TV to keep them preoccupied. And I remember walking in and everybody was staring at the TV. And I looked up and somebody was messing with the antenna. Back then they had an antenna. Because all you could see was a grainy footage. You couldn't really see what was going on. You could hear like a news reporter, but you couldn't see what was going on. So I didn't even think anything of it. I just kind of looked up and I saw somebody messing with the antenna and people were talking. And I just walked past them. Didn't even really pay much attention. Walked past them and I was getting ready to clock out. And somebody said my name. She was a woman that I had... she had been my mom's friend, so she knew me since I was a kid. So she called my name, and I still remember it clearly. And she said, "We're being attacked." And I kind of looked at her, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know what she was talking about. We're being attacked, like at work, is somebody at work having a problem, and that's why they're all in there. And seriously, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't think anything of it when she said we're being attacked. And she said, "No, we're being attacked. There's planes crashing all over the United States." That's what she told me, and I was immediately thinking, there's planes everywhere falling from the sky, not just in New York, because I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't seen any news footage, and you couldn't see anything on the TV, just barely hear a news report because of all the static. And she just said, "No, there's planes falling, there's terrorists attacking the United States, and there's planes falling from the sky everywhere." So I was just thinking that they're falling all over the United States. And I look up, and it was starting to clear up the TV, and you can see like the towers, very grainy footage because it was an older TV, very grainy footage of the towers on fire. All this, all the smoke, not on fire, but all I could see was the smoke coming out of the towers. And usually that TV, it was an older TV. They had a VCR, so people usually brought their own videos to watch TV on. So it didn't really work that well. They didn't have like cable or anything. So they got it working where it was kind of grainy. So I saw a little bit of it. And I stood there watching for a little bit, and it still didn't click what was going on. And there was people talking around me. Anyway, I ended up leaving. Stood there for about 5-10 minutes just looking at the smoke. and not really know what was going on. I walk out, and all I remember is crossing the street to our cars where the parking lot was. And one of my coworkers looked at me and he was like, "Are you ready to go to war?" I remember exactly what he said. "Are you ready to go to war? Let's go to war." That's all he said. And then he walked away and went home. I got in my car. I immediately turned on the stereo. I was living in Washington and I worked in Oregon, so I turned on the radio, found the station where they were talking about what was going on, the news reporters, and I drove from Oregon towards Washington to my kid's mom's house. At the time we were dating. We had only been dating for about 2 months, and I on my drive home, I didn't have a cell phone back then, but I was listening to it the whole time. I got to her house because she lived on State Line. She lived on the State Line Road of Washington and Oregon. I got to her house and I opened up the door because it was already open. She would unlock it every morning for me. And I walked in and she was sitting in front of the TV with just a look of shock on her face. And I look up and I'm staring at the TV, and you can see, like, at that point I sat down on the couch and she was sitting on the floor. I remember just staring at the TV. She told me her mom had woken her up with a phone call and telling her that we were being attacked and to turn on the TV right away. So she was sitting there watching it, and then I sat down and watched it with her, and we just saw people jumping from the towers. I remember clearly just people jumping from the towers. And then we sat there and watched that for a long time, and then eventually the towers crumbled, and we watched that. So live on TV, something you would never think that, so you would be watching something like that live on TV, but we did. It was part of what happened that day. So anyway, I just want to talk about where I was on 9/11. Something that like I said, I always talk to people about that. I meet people, and for some reason on 9/11 it always gets brought up, like, where were you when that happened? I was just talking to a coworker about where I was, and she told me where she was, and I just got me to thinking, and I decided I'd make a video, so maybe my kids will one day watch it and they will know where Dad was on 9/11. It's not, I don't have like a amazing story of where I was. I was just a regular American, doing his job, working at a factory, trying to make ends meet, and getting the bills paid. Didn't think on anything of it, just living my life, and that happened. So just another day that was going on in my life, and then that's what when I got off work, that's what I saw. But anyway, that was my story. Where were you on 9/11? I would like to know. Make videos, let us know, and because I find it interesting. I like to hear people's stories and where they were. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and bye.